What's going on, Ravens fans? Welcome into the Baltimore Ravens Rundown. My name is Joey Petersen. We got a triple dose of major news to discuss today, starting off with Robert Saleh. He got the head coaching job for the Tennessee Titans. He is officially off the table for the Baltimore Ravens. After that, there are two more candidates that have been scheduled to participate in second-round interviews. And we're going to wrap up today's show with John Harbaugh rumors. Will he be targeting Ravens free agents, one in particular? All that and more coming up on today's show. Let's start off with Robert Saleh. The NFL broke it down late last night. In fact, it was pretty much technically into today that the Tennessee Titans were set to hire former 49ers defensive coordinator Robert Saleh as their new head coach. And I'm not going to lie, Robert Saleh was high on my board. And Robert Saleh has been decently high on my board for the last couple of weeks, but as each day went on, I'm not going to lie, I started buying in more and more to the idea of having Robert Saleh as the next head coach for the Baltimore Ravens. And there are many reasons why I liked him, many reasons why I thought he'd fit in Baltimore. I believe that he got dealt a really, really poor hand in New York. His first season there, Zach Wilson's his quarterback. Then they bring in Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers wants to bring in all of his buddies, wants to be the general manager. And then that all crumbles down instantaneously, pretty much. And Robert Saleh is the one who got the blame for it. He's an unbelievable leader of men. Just look at the way that those players in San Francisco respond to his leadership. He's an elite defensive mind. What they were able to do defensively with no Fred Warner, no Nick Bosa this year was unbelievable. And lastly, he's got connections offensively to the Kyle Shanahan, Mike Shanahan tree. So I would have zero reservations about him bringing in a really, really good offensive coordinator, Lamar Jackson, Derrick Henry, in this offense. But alas, he's off your board, and he's going to be the next head coach for the Tennessee Titans. You want the Ravens to nail this head coach hire? Do me one big favor. Like today's video. Let Eric DeCosta know you are behind him. You are behind them in this search. The search could be wrapping up decently soon. We got two more names to look out for second-round interviews. That is Joe Brady, offensive coordinator for the Buffalo Bills, and Jesse Minter, who, as we know, is the defensive coordinator for Jim Harbaugh and the Los Angeles Chargers. This brings three candidates to a second-round interview. Anthony Weaver, we discussed that late yesterday, and the two we're talking about today. There are a decent bit of candidates, though, that still, cannot interview for that second round because they're in the middle of a quest for a Super Bowl. Guys like Davis Webb, Vance Joseph, Nate Scheelhaus, Chris Shula, all those guys could get second-round interviews at some point, but with them competing in championship games this weekend, that cannot happen. Let's start off with Joe Brady. He's kind of bounced back and forth from the NFL to the college ranks. He really made his name in 2019 as the pass game coordinator for the LSU Tigers in their national championship run with Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, and Justin Jefferson. Then he took the jump up to the NFL with Matt Rule when he got hired to be the new head coach of the Carolina Panthers. Things did not go very well. He landed in Buffalo, and that's where he's been for the last 4 seasons with Josh Allen, Sean McDermott, and company up there in New York. Jesse Minter, decently similar kind of background, college and NFL. His has been more college-heavy, though. Defensive coordinator for Georgia State from 2013 to 2016. They made the jump up to the NFL for 4 seasons with Baltimore as a defensive assistant and defensive backs coach. 2021 was the DC for Vanderbilt, then made the move with Jim Harbaugh to Michigan as the defensive coordinator, won a national championship with them in 2023, and then made that move from Ann Arbor all the way to Los Angeles, and he's been with the Chargers for the last 2 seasons. Now, if you're talking about those two guys, I personally would prefer Minter over Brady. That's my personal preference. I frankly just don't really see Joe Brady as a head coach in the National Football League. And if people did see him as a head coach in the NFL, then I think Buffalo would have just promoted him. Like, think about it. They move on from Sean McDermott. I feel like the natural progression right there is just to promote the guy who's had a ton of success as Josh Allen's offensive coordinator. Like, if they want to keep having offensive success, they would have just wanted to keep him in the building and possibly said, hey, look, we're just going to make you our next head coach. Now, I know it doesn't always work like that, but in my brain, that seems like a natural step for Buffalo if they so desperately did not want him to leave the building. The fact that they're willing to let him leave the building kind of shows me all I need to see about their thoughts of him as a head coach and maybe even as an offensive coordinator. Speaking of the offensive coordinator, that is my one concern with Jesse Minter. And it's a concern we've discussed a lot on this channel. I believe in him as a head coach. I believe in him as a defensive mind, but he just doesn't have a ton of strong connections around the National Football League when it comes to offensive guys. Like he was here in Baltimore with John Harbaugh, then he's been with Jim Harbaugh in Los Angeles. It's like those two coaches are not known for their offensive coaching trees, if you will. Like, that's never going to be their forte. That's never been Jim Harbaugh's strong suit. That's never been John Harbaugh's strong suit, and it never will. Like, who's his best offensive connection? Greg Roman? Now, of course, he can go outside of his coaching connections to hire somebody, but that's a little bit less likely. So that's my big concern when it comes to Jesse Minter. But I do think he would be a fit in Baltimore. And that's why he's been the name we've been talking about for a very long time. He's been in Baltimore before, young, up-and-coming coach, and he knows the MacDonald defensive system. It's his exact same system. But will he end up having a chance even to go to Baltimore? Because some are saying maybe not. The Las Vegas Raiders might be locking him down soon. We talked with our Raiders host, Mitchell Renz. So this is what's happening. Mike McDaniel's interviewing for their offensive coordinator job. Evero interviews before Minter as well. That knocks out the Rooney Rule for the Las Vegas Raiders, meaning after they have that done, they can go ahead and hire a head coach. Because Jesse Minter's going to be in Las Vegas today. Jesse Minter was also in the box with Mark Davis and company last night for the national championship game. There's a good chance they're courting him. There's a good chance that today they're saying, look, we're not letting you leave the building without giving you and you signing this contract to be our next head coach. We'll keep that kind of a watch over the next 12 hours or so. Pick one to be a head coach, Joe Brady or Jesse Minter. Let me know down below. Give me a JB or a JM in the comment section. We got more to discuss on today's program. A little bit of news about free agency. But before we get into that, I got to tell you about our awesome sponsor of today's show, our great friends over at PrizePicks. The big game is almost here, and there's no better way to cash in during America's biggest sporting event than PrizePicks, where it always feels good to be right. And since the big game is right around the corner, that also means it's your last chance to get into the football action before next season. So close the season outright with PrizePicks by getting $50 instantly in lineups when you play your first $5. Are you missing your fantasy team? My league's already over, but with PrizePicks, I don't have to wait until next year's draft to keep playing fantasy. PrizePicks lets you play fantasy football every week, even in the playoffs. Pick your favorite players and win when they hit their projections every week. No draft required. Join millions of users and sign up for America's #1 sports picks app. Here is my 4-pick power play on PrizePicks. I'm going to take the more on Drake May pass yards and the less on Jarrett Stidham passing yards. I'm also going to take the more on pass yards for both Matthew Stafford and Sam Darnold. Cannot wait for those games this weekend. Download the PrizePicks app today and use code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Link to this promo is in the comments and description of today's video. PrizePicks, it's good to be right. All right, let's round out today's show with a little bit of free agency rumors. Connor Hughes was the one who tweeted this out. John Harbaugh had his opening press conference in New York today. This guy covers New York. He says the Giants are, quote, confident things will work out with Todd Monken as their offense coordinator under John Harbaugh. I'm told they're still going through the process, though. Per sources, defensive Anthony Weaver believed to be the favorite at the moment. Per sources, Zach Gore, another name I've heard. He continued on to say because they're bringing in Todd Monken, it is very, very well known around the league that the Giants are going to be aggressive in pursuing free agents from Baltimore, specifically Tyler Linderbaum. And that is one of the 10 key free agents for the Ravens. They got more free agents than this. These are the 10 biggest ones, in my opinion. Dre'Mont Jones, Alohi Gilman, D-Hop, Kyle Van Noy, Linderbaum, Ricard, Aquzie, Charlie Kolar, Isaiah Likely, and Keaton Mitchell. Look, out of those guys, Linderbaum is easily the most important one out of all of these, okay? He's your only one that's like going to be and already has been like a no question about it Pro Bowler, top at his position. And because of that, he's probably going to command in the free agent market top of position money. In fact, I would not be surprised if he becomes the number one highest paid center, passing Creed Humphrey at $18 million. Now, if Baltimore does some restructure with the contracts, maybe some trades here or there, they would be able to free up the money to pay him that. But I could easily see a team like Las Vegas, a team like New York, that we're talking about this rumor in the first place, because I can easily see them being incredibly interested in jacking that price up far beyond what Baltimore would be willing to do. It's going to be an interesting thing to watch. I think if I'm Eric DeCosta, because of the question marks you've got on your offensive line with the two guard spots, keeping Tyler Linderbaum right there in the center is going to be very important. Because, sure, they might have a good plan of, okay, it's going to be Emory Jones Jr. year 2. Let's draft an offensive guard in the first 14 picks of the NFL draft. You got your two guard spots figured out, but those are still question marks. You don't want to have a question mark in the center's position as well. That would be a dumpster fire. Set your price. Would you pay Linderbaum $20 million a year? Let me know down below. Give me a yes or no in the comment section. We're going to get out of here. We'll be back tomorrow morning with another video. We'll be live tomorrow afternoon, evening with our weekly Wednesday live show. Make sure you guys join us. Follow me on socials, Twitter, Instagram. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. That way we do go live. Turn on those notifications as well so you guys know when it'll happen. You can be hanging out with us. If that's the case. We'll see you tomorrow.